Yo, what's going on, guys? Arekkz here, and today I want to talk to you about Scarlet Nexus, another upcoming title that I am super looking forward to. This one comes out on June the 25th, but I very fortunately had a chance to go hands-on with a demo thanks to the awesome guys over at Bandai Namco, and I got to check out quite a few hours of the game, you know, from different perspectives and whatnot. And today, while I wasn't able to record my own gameplay because I played remotely, I am able to share a little bit of gameplay with you and just kind of talk about my impressions in the background. That being said, on the note of demo, for those of you guys that want to play this yourself, you actually can, because there is also a demo coming for this game. If you have an Xbox Series X or an Xbox Series S or an Xbox One, then the demo is on the 21st of May. Meanwhile, if you have a PlayStation 5 or a PlayStation 4, the demo is on the 28th of May. So there is a slight gap there, but basically, if you want to try this out before you buy it, then there is a demo coming soon, and in that demo you'll be able to play a very similar thing to what I got to try out. You get to try out the two different characters, that is Yuito and Kasane, and you also get to test out some of the sort of team up abilities. Different characters have different team ups in the demo, and if you do complete them, you also unlock some cosmetics that you can basically use in the full game, which is kind of cool. So definitely check it out, because honestly, I've had a blast with this. Like, I love these kinds of games. Of course, you kind of got that sort of hack and slash style action combat, but as you'll learn when I sort of take some time to discuss combat, it just flows really nicely. It's a lot of fun to play, so the fact there's a free demo, I mean, why are you not going to try it, right? That being said, let me talk about what I got to do in a sort of hands-on session. So as mentioned, if you saw the most recent trailer, you'll know that initially, when they first revealed this game, everything was shown through the sort of perspective of Yuito. And recently, in the new trailer, we actually got to see that there is a second protagonist. You can basically choose at the beginning of the game whether you want to play as Yuito, the male character, or Kasane. Now, fundamentally, while a lot of the sort of core combat mechanics work the same between both characters, they do have their own combat styles. Yuito fights with a sword, paired with, of course, his psychokinetic abilities, ability to sort of, control objects and throw them around. Meanwhile, Kasane fights with sort of throwing knives, which again, she sort of manipulates with her mind. So they do at least sort of play slightly differently on this sort of core combo front. So speaking a bit more about combat, if you haven't seen any of this stuff before, then again, it's one of those sort of, action hack and slash style games, DMC, Astral Chain, Vanquish, that kind of thing, right? But when you go into combat, you have your basic attacks, which are normally linked to your X inputs. So for Yuito, this will be your sword attacks. For Kasane, that'll be your knife attacks. And then where some of the sort of unique aspects of this game comes in is that you have psychokinesis, which allows you to mentally sort of grab and control objects around you. So you can pick up things like cars and lampposts and bricks and rocks and just throw them at enemies. And this sort of flow works so seamlessly into sort of combat, because what will happen is you'll go in, you'll begin some basic combos, you'll dash back, grab an object, throw it at the enemy, and then as that impacts or as that hits the enemy, you're instantly able to dash back in and go straight into a combo. So you can very seamlessly weave these two together. It's not sort of like a separate disjointed thing where you're like, oh, I just need to go and think about grabbing an object. Instead, you're just passively doing both these things at the same time. You can hold down the trigger and you can just very easily just grab an object. So, you do it without thinking after a while. You just go in, combo, 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 throw an object, dash out, dash back in, and that just flow is a lot of fun as it is. And that's just sort of the basic level of this. Obviously, there's a lot of customization in the game. You have skill trees, you can unlock different abilities, you can go down different paths, different sort of branches. You also have different gear pieces you can unlock. You can get different weapons, different gear. There's also cosmetic gear that you can unlock in the game as well. But on top of that, to add like another layer to combat, you also have companions that'll fight alongside you. Now, to my understanding, at least from what I've played thus far, you don't actually get to play as the companions. However, they can factor into your player style, because not only do they sort of fight with you in combat, but you can then link with them and you can effectively borrow some of their abilities. So a couple of examples I got to sort of test out was one of them has like a pyrokinesis ability, so it's of course fire focused, so that can then imbue your attacks with fire, and then as you level up your teammates and you level up their abilities, you can also then have more powerful abilities. So it might just start by, say, imbuing your attacks with fire, but then later on it'll allow you to call down like a meteor, that kind of thing. I also got to mess around with one that sort of gave me like hard defenses, one of them that sort of allowed me to slow down time, and there's plenty more, electricity, teleportation, clairvoyance. There are quite a lot of different characters, and you can sort of mix and match them as you're playing throughout the game. In fact, there comes a point in the game where you go to the hideout, which is sort of like your, basically your base, your house. If you watch anime, it's kind of like just where everyone sort of goes and hangs out together. Think of sort of like My Hero, where everyone just kind of goes back to school and just sort of sits around the lounge. And you go here, and you can of course interact with the different characters, but you can also use this location as a means to, change your team. decide who you want to bring with you, who you want to leave behind. So when you start finding different characters that you particularly like, or different sort of abilities that you think synergize nicely in your combat style, you can then of course lean more so into bringing them along with you. So having the hideout is pretty nice. And of course, you know, outside of missions, it's not just kind of go from one action-oriented mission to another. You get to sort of explore the city, and I absolutely love the visual style for this game. I get distinct sort of you know, Akira Ghost in the Shell vibes to this one, and I'm loving that. It's just super cool. But yeah, you get to, you know, in between missions, you can wander around the city, you can explore, there are items to collect, there are sort of people to speak to, things to interact with. Then, you know, there's a broader map which you can then jump between different locations. Obviously, it's not, I wouldn't say like completely open world, because, you know, there's areas of the city you can't go to, so it's not like a full scale like go wherever you want GTA style. But there is still a degree of exploration when you're sort of walking around the city. There are things to do, people to find, and I imagine, you know, I didn't get to necessarily test that out in my sort of playtime, but I imagine sort of, you know, finding those collectibles and sort of, you know, interacting with different people may well lead to other items you can unlock, cosmetics, stuff like that. But going back to the actual game itself, the way they sort of tell the story, it's kind of cool as well. You have this sort of mix of normal cutscenes plus these sort of panels that appear on screen that you sort of have, you know, dialogue between different characters. And if you take a look at the intro as well, the anime intro, that in itself is just super hype. They dropped that the other day. If you haven't seen it, check out the trailer. They show the animated intro for the game, and that is really nice. I mean, factoring in there's also going to be an actual anime that accompanies this game, then I cannot wait to see that. But honestly, yeah, for the most part, I've just had a great time sort of playing through this. I've really enjoyed the combat. Like, I've only got to sort of barely scratch the surface, given that I only got to, you know, level up a little bit, unlock a few different abilities in my skill tree. I went sort of golden line down the path that basically unlocks new combo paths, whereas you could sort of lean more into things like, I don't know, I want to power up my character, give myself more defense, more health, lean more into more like psychokinetic abilities, things like that. But initially, the sort of lowest cost ones to unlock were things like, hey, get a, you know, extra combo path, or get aerial combos unlocked and things like that. So there's definitely, you know, a good degree of progression in here. You know, gear to find, items to find, weapons to find, skills to level up, characters to level up, team comps, team synergies. So there's a lot of, you know, experimentation and sort of customization. And, you know, I've barely started to scratch the surface, but already I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, I had a great time playing through. Again, if you want to see what it's like, definitely check out those demos. I mean, there's no reason not to. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Let me know if this is a game that you are looking forward to. And of course, keep it locked, because once the game comes out, I'll definitely have plenty more gameplay to share with you.
I see. So that's how you use your psychokinesis to fight. Seems like a reasonably useful power.
If you want to catch more from us at Arekkz Gaming, don't forget you can catch the guys 269 and Paradise Central streaming over on Twitch weekdays, playing a variety of games. If you guys want to jump in, tune in, watch, and even join in, then make sure you check them out. The links to those are in the description box down below, and of course you can join the Discord to get involved in all of the discussions.